What's going on, Colts Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Bring the Juice. Guys, wanted to do the Indianapolis Colts versus Washington Commanders preview video for you guys. Going to be doing a couple different videos with a bunch of different people from a couple different podcasts today. So believe me, like I would like to have somebody, but we're going all over the place with, separating ourselves with doing a bunch of different podcasts. Think the Commanders fans are just interested to hear our opinion about Sam Ellinger and things of that nature. So, yeah, we don't have anyone here, but I'm glad to give you guys this report. Needless to say, this game is definitely going to be played a lot different than what people thought, right? We started this game, or we saw the schedule in the offseason, right? And we saw Indianapolis Colts versus Washington Commanders. The Commanders coming into town, who we just traded our best quarterback to, and that was Carson Wentz. And sure enough, Carson Wentz gets injured 2 weeks ago and has to get thumb surgery or hand surgery. So he is unable to play football at the moment, and he's not going to be able to return. And then on top of it, you now see the Colts benching their quarterback that they brought in to replace him. And now Sam Ellinger is going to be the quarterback, right? So a very strange dynamic going on here for both the Commanders and the Colts. You're going to see a bunch of different things going on in this game that this is one of those few games where it is really hard to pick a winner in this game because you have two new quarterbacks coming in. Now, you can't necessarily say Taylor Heineke is too much of the new for the Commanders because Heineke has played considerable amount of minutes for the Washington Commanders, and they know what to expect from him. They know how to get the best out of him. We don't know about Sam Ellinger right now. We like to think that there's a good chance of seeing some improvement, but that's going to be for talking about here later. Let's kind of get into the injury reports here. I said in a previous video, the two main contributors in this game you can expect to see the Colts potentially miss is Kwity Paye and Grant Stewart on the special teams. That seems to be the only two guys right now that are not expected to play in this game. Now, when we go into their group of people, you have a couple guys that didn't practice. Obviously, like we mentioned, Carson Wentz is not going to be playing in this game. It's going to be Taylor Heineke being the full-time quarterback there. And then Jahan Dotson, their number 2 wide receiver, he is going to miss another week, and he won't be playing in this game. And, that definitely is a big blow because, Jahan Dotson got off to a fantastic start early in the year and then, just hasn't been able to recover with the injuries recently. He has had 22 or 12 receptions this year for 152 yards. So, was a key contributor early in the season before his injuries. And then when you go back to the rest of it, the other one is William Jackson III. There's been trade rumors with him, and there's a question on whether or not he's going to play. Logan Thomas was a limited participant at practice as well over the last 2 days. Been practicing with a brace on his knee or on his leg. So that'll be interesting to monitor. And De'Ami Brown, who has only had 3 catches this year, hasn't really been much of a useful weapon for the Commanders all season, dealing with injuries and not getting involved in the offense. There's question marks on whether or not he's going to play. So it'll be very interesting, and they're already missing their right tackle, Sam Cosmi. So it'll be very interesting to see how the Commanders make up for a lot of the missing weapons that they might have on offense in this game. It's going to be different. They're going to miss their number 2 wide receiver, their number 4 wide receiver. They're missing one of their tackles. They're missing maybe their number 5 wide receiver as well. They're missing maybe potentially their tight end. So it'll be very interesting to see how their depth gets tested against this Indianapolis Colts team, which has already had a pretty solid defense. And if Shaquille Leonard were to come back, it could be very interesting to see. And then, of course, Chase Young being on the defensive side of things, he's not expected to practice till next week. He's had an injury all off season and all season long, and he still hasn't come back yet. So don't expect him to be back into this game. So that's one of their biggest defensive weapons again being missed. So the Colts, injury wise, are a little bit better on that front right now than what the Commanders are coming into this game. But of course, when you talk about what the Commanders can do offensively, we know Taylor Heineke. We know Heineke normally is very smart with the ball. It doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He's a guy that can run when given the chance to. He's much like Sam Ellinger in a way. Sam Ellinger and Taylor Heineke, to me, really play a lot of the same. They'll move when they need to, when they feel there's a play open, and very conservative with the football. Sometimes they'll throw it deep on occasion, but for the most part, these guys take care of the football. And the rushing department, I don't think that we need to worry too much about the ability for the Commanders to run the football in this game. I know that over the last 4 weeks, the Indianapolis Colts have not done a good job of stopping the run, but this last week they did a better job of containing Derrick Henry, and he was only averaging 4 yards a carry through the with the top 3 running backs from the Commanders. Antonio Gibson, who's kind of taken somewhat of a back role a little bit since Brian Robinson's come back. That's one where he's had 273 yards this year. He's averaging less than 4 yards a carry. Brian Robinson, since coming back, is only averaging 3.5 yards a carry. J.D. McKissick is averaging 4.5. But then again, he's only ran the ball 20 times this year, so he hasn't really been much of a contributor in that regard. But again, I wouldn't anticipate us struggling too much with stopping the run. I trust Grover Stewart and DeForest Buckner in the middle to be able to handle that workload. So wouldn't worry too much about that. And of course, the ends did a better job last week of covering the outside zone as well. So I expect the Colts to continue to forefront on that. Receiving is where it gets dangerous, despite the fact that I said they're missing out on some depth. The pieces that they do have is definitely very concerning. Obviously, people refer to Terry McLaurin, Scary McLaurin. Scary Terry, man. I mean, he is fantastic. This year, 27 receptions for 440 yards. Fantastic number one wide receiver, has 2 touchdowns on the year. Curtis Samuel, their number 2. He's had 39 receptions this year for 340. So McLaurin actually almost doubles the average yards per catch that Curtis Samuel does, which is very crazy to think about. But then again, Terry McLaurin is more of that deep threat hitter. But then again, when you look at the running backs, their number 3 and number 4 leading wide receivers this year are Antonio Gibson and J.D. McKissick. And Antonio Gibson with 22 catches for 170 yards. He averages 7.5 yards per carry, almost as much as Curtis Samuel. And J.D. McKissick averaging 6.5 with 24 catches for 159 yards. So they do get their running backs involved a lot in the receiving game. So I would not be surprised if they continue to go that route due to the fact that their wide receiver depth is being tested in this game, with only their number 1 and number 2 really being the only ones that are readily available and used often. So this Colts defense really needs to do whatever they can to try to influence Terry McLaurin to not beat them. That needs to be the game plan, is not allowing Terry McLaurin to get free and to get easy one-on-one matchups, because one thing that Terry McLaurin does really well is winning the contested ball. There's very few wide receivers in the league that are better with jump balls and 50-50 balls than Terry McLaurin. So you need to make sure that you're keeping an eye on him at all times. If you can do that, then I feel very confident in this team's ability to create havoc for the Commanders and being able to get pressure. The Colts defensive line has been doing a much better job of getting pressure on quarterbacks over the last 3 weeks, really. So they need to continue to do that. And, this offensive line certainly isn't the greatest thing in the world. They do have Charles Leno, who was the former Bears left tackle that got traded. He's been good. And they do have Andrew Norwell, who is a pretty solid interior lineman. But other than that, that's really all you have at the moment. So I feel confident in this Colts ability to win some of these one-on-one matchups and be able to get some sacks. So and you need to get pressure on Taylor Heineke to try to force him to make bad throws, especially with this defense and what they're trying to do. Now we go to the other side of things. Again, with the Colts, you just don't know how this offense is going to look, right? When it comes to how this team plays with Sam Ellinger in the backfield, right? I mean, we just truly don't know what it's going to look like, and we'll have to see how it goes. But I think that as long as Sam Ellinger does not commit stupid turnovers, then they should be okay. When you look at some of the sack totals, even despite missing Chase Young, this team still does a fantastic job with getting after the quarterback. I mean, they've got 5 guys on the defensive line that have at least 3 sacks on the year. So that's definitely something that is very helpful for the team. If you look at the Colts, I mean, the Colts only have 3 guys that have done that, and Kwity Paye's not playing, and he's one of them. So, they do a much better job of getting after the quarterback in this game, in most games, than we do. Darren Payne and Jonathan Allen, their 2 interior defensive linemen, both have 3.5 sacks each. And then Jamin Davis, their linebacker, he's got 3. And then Montez Sweat, their defensive end that they used with our pick 2 years ago, he has 3 sacks. And Odaba, who's the defensive end that's been covering for Chase Young, he has 3 sacks on the year. So they all consistently get pressure pretty much. So it'll be very important for them to be able to do that. So we'll see how that goes, but that is another tough task for this Colts offensive line to have to deal with. And Darren Payne and Jonathan Allen are definitely big boys in the middle, and I think it's going to make it very difficult to run the football up the middle on this team. You need to be able to try to run those inside or outside zone combos with Jonathan Taylor in this game, in order to try to create some separation on the outside rather than on the inside. Because we know that this Colts offensive line's not been doing well with blocking as of recently, especially in the past. But really, I don't think there's any corners here, guys, that truly concern me with trying to lock onto our wide receivers. The Indianapolis Colts with Michael Pittman, Paris Campbell, and Alec Pierce all have the speed and size matchups that you would want for Sam Ellinger in his first game to try and take advantage of some of these. And then, of course, trying to get the tight ends involved. We'll see how committed they are to making that part of the game plan, and if Sam Ellinger can actually get that done, because we haven't seen a lot of Jelani Woods, Kylan Granson, or anything over the 2 of the last 3 weeks. That really hasn't been much of a thing for the tight ends, right? So hoping we get to see more of Jelani and of Kylan Granson and of Mo, things like that. I hope that we get to see more of that in this game, trying to help out Sam Ellinger. So Other than that, guys, I guess I might as well give a prediction right off the bat. That's going to do it for this one, but I probably would go with a final score of I'm going to say it's Sam Ellinger's first game. I'll say it's a final score of 17-14 Indianapolis. I think it could be 17-14 Indianapolis. I think that the Colts defense is going to stop the Commanders offense just a little bit more than what the Colts will have with ours. I think Sam Ellinger will get his first win. I think it's very possible that that could happen. I just think that it will be a low scoring game because you got two quarterbacks coming in that haven't had much playing time this year. And it's just going to be one of those situations that you're going to have where defenses are probably going to reign supreme in this. So that's going to do it for this one, guys. Let me know your thoughts, though, on this game and on your prediction for the rest of this going forward. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And as always, guys, go Colts. What's going on, everybody? Today, I wanted to talk to you about our sponsor, BetStamp. Now, I know what you're thinking. Derek, another betting app? What is so different about this one now? Well, I got to tell you guys, I'm not into online gambling a whole lot and bets online and everything, but I got to tell you, BetStamp is one of the coolest things I have ever seen in regards to betting online. The great thing about BetStamp is it allows you to see all the different odds from all different sports books and see which one provides you the best odds possible for any game or scenario you want to bet on for your pick versus some of the worst. BetStamp allows you to also buy and sell picks that you have without worrying about losing your money or having any issues with it. Believe me, it's all free. I mean, look at this, guys. You have an option for every game across all different kinds of leagues in a ton of different ways. You have baseball, you have college football, UFC, NBA, and NFL. Great for the NFL season now being here. And if I wanted to bet on this Tennessee Titans versus Buffalo Bills game, it shows me in real time what are the best odds, which sports book I'm going to get the best offer from versus some of the worst ones. Because why would you want to earn less money from PointsBet when you could be winning more from ProLine Plus? Again, a great thing that BetStamp offers you, allowing you to make more money for the same pick just with a different sports book. How easy is that? And the great thing is there's not just games. There's player props. There's game props. There's lines. There's live tracking. There's a ton of great ways to make bets and picks on BetStamp, guys. Totally a cool thing to use. I highly encourage you check it out if you're into any kind of online betting. Even if you're not, give it a check. See what you like about it, because I think I actually enjoy using it. But the best way to get an edge on online sports betting is having multiple accounts at different sports books. Be sure to hit the BetLink page, betstamp.app/onboarding. Be sure to check out the BetStamp app or online, and be sure to use the referral code JUICE, plug in your state, and you'll get access to all their affiliates and their prices once you open it up, seeing all states' lines. Be sure to check this out, guys. You won't want to miss it for the best odds on your next sports bet.